Hey everybody, and welcome to the last day of the year. Today I'm going to be talking about how to let go of last year and how to welcome in the new year, so stay tuned. So welcome back. So just very quickly, I wanted to give a summary of my year, which is kind of part of how to let go of it, but we're coming to that in a bit. This year has been particularly tough. I've spoken about it quite a bit in my newsletter and on social media. Incredibly, between my husband and I, this year we've lost 8 people. It's just insane. I mean, how do you even get past that? So that really has sparked a lot of thought about death and dying and our place here on this planet and what we plan to do with our lives, and if our lives are meaningful, and if we're doing really what we really and truly want to be doing. So yes, it's been a bit of a wake-up call. But there have been some positives. Amongst other things, I started strength training at the beginning of this year. I had all sorts of unresolved issues with my joints, and I was in a lot of pain. I was on prescription medication, and I don't even know how it got started. I think I was, online when you're doom scrolling, and I saw an advert for an app that, I don't know, does some exercises for 30 seconds and you rest for 10 seconds. And I just started doing it because, well, I don't even know why I started doing it. And I realized I really enjoyed it. And then the exercises started to bring in sort of water bottles to give you a little bit of extra weight. And I enjoyed that so much. My husband bought me a set of dumbbells, only 2 kg ones. And incredibly, I just loved it, and I just progressed, and I have in fact you can just see them down on the floor there. I have now a full set of dumbbells, and for Christmas I got a weight bench, and it's remarkable. I don't take the prescription medication anymore for my joints. I am healthier than I lost a ton of weight, not because I had a lot of weight to lose, but because I was firming up and toning up, and it's been an absolutely fabulous journey. I feel so much better for it. And at my age, menopause age, one needs to start thinking about your future and your health, and particularly bone density. So it was very important to me to continue, and I love it. So that has been a massive highlight. Another highlight really is my business. It has been tough this year, and particularly in the last couple of months. I've had a lot of really hard, deeply emotionally draining readings. Animal communication is not always about what food does your dog like, and what are his favorite toys, and why does the cat always climb that particular tree. They're not always light-hearted questions. Quite often, in fact, the majority of my readings are transition readings, so I will speak to animals just as they're about to pass, and the messages that they exchange with their people and the messages that people want to give their animals are really deeply meaningful, and ultimately that animal does pass. And because I develop a very personal relationship with my clients, I feel a lot for them when that does happen, and it's been a learning curve for me to be constantly surrounded by that level of emotion whilst dealing with my own level of emotion for the people that we've lost this year, and learning how how to carry that without it bringing you down. It's a learning process and it's ongoing. But I still feel incredibly privileged to do what I do. So the summaries for this year are: I spoke to 85 dogs, I spoke to 88 cats, 4 horses, and 2 rabbits. Or I say 2 rabbits, I believe it was the same rabbit twice. A very special rabbit in America. But incredibly, cats win this year. If I remember last year, dogs, I think I spoke to more dogs last year than I spoke to cats. So it was interesting this year to see cats take over the dogs. If you follow me on social media, you'll see every month I do a poll where people guess which species of animal I spoke to most. And everybody knows it's either dogs or cats. Yes, I do speak to horses and rabbits every now and again, but dogs and cats seem to be the majority. And people are always kind of joking about, oh, you know, who's going to win this month? Is this going to be cats or dogs? But overall, 2024, cats take first place. So that was quite sweet. My YouTube channel, I haven't paid it quite as much attention as I would like to, and I have some plans for it next year, which I'll talk about shortly. Excuse me, but I went from 105 subscribers to 166. I know that's not massive, but those 166 people have chosen to subscribe. So thank you very much for that. And my mailing list has almost doubled in size, so that's gone from 53 to 95. So I have a newsletter which I send out every month, which is updates on my business, little stories about animals in my life, some interesting stories about particular readings that I've had, and always includes a discount code of some sort for some sort of animal communication reading. So I will put a link to subscribe to that in the description below. Like I said about changing the YouTube channel, I would like to do more on YouTube. I've been a bit scattered with social media this year, so you know, one tries to do all the social media things right, and I do enjoy doing video, but it does take a long time. But saying that, I would like to do more YouTube shorts. My plan is to do a short after every reading that I do, to give you a little bit of insight about a particularly interesting question that somebody asked and how the animal responded. So without giving personal details away, but it just helps you to see how animals perceive their worlds. And I thought that might be quite interesting. And I'm going to try to, but let's not overcommit, right? To do a weekly kind of animal wisdom video where I summarize over the week what readings I've done, what I've learned from those animals. I'm going to try and do that once a week, but we'll see how it goes, because like I said, the videos normally take me quite a long time, and I'm quite short on time anyway, but I'm trying to be more organized. I am continuing to write my book. For those of you who don't know, I started a couple of months ago. I think October, I decided to write a book. It's called Animals Speak, Hearts Listen, and it is a collection of stories from real clients and real animals that I've dealt with. And I've chosen those particular stories because they've been massive in some way or other, with the story, the animal story, what they've done, what they've taught everyone, or the profound messages that they've shared, or just a really incredible journey that the animal has been on. And I had hoped to have it finished by today. I started off strong, and you know, I've got all the chapter, I've got the title, obviously, I've got the chapters layout, But actually in order to do each chapter, I have to go through all the past notes of that reading with that animal, select all the tidbits, and then actually write a story that includes those tidbits. And that actually takes quite a lot of time. And everybody knows you have to be in the right frame of mind for writing. And these last couple of months have just been a bit tough emotionally. So, but I have goals set for 2025, and I'm determined to get that book finished. I have another little book on the sideline, which is about how to connect with your animals in spirit. That one's not as high a priority for me. This other one is the big one, but I'll keep you posted on that. So that's kind of the year summary, and you know more or less now what to expect on YouTube in 2025 from the channel. I'm now going to talk about how to let go, how to let go of the year. Now, I have in my shop, I have something which goes into a lot more depth than what I'm going to do tonight, but that is a selection of, I think, 7 life coaching exercises that you go through. It includes a massive workbook, but it's life coaching exercises. So you go through the exercises and it helps you analyze a whole lot of things throughout the year. You fill in the workbook and you come to conclusions and you set goals for the next year. And it's a YouTube video. It's a workshop that I did online, plus a workbook that you get. That goes into a lot more detail. So just as a sneaky sales thing, that is in my shop on special offer for €20 at the moment. I think only until midnight tonight. So grab it while it's hot. But just a quick exercise that you can do that doesn't require too much effort or money to be spent. And it is something that I will be doing. Think about 2024 and think about the really crappy things that happened. You know, for me, obviously, like I said, that, you know, there's those 8 people that passed away this year. One of who was my mother-in-law, my husband's mother, and we weren't expecting that. His father is already terminally ill, but that took us a bit by surprise. So it is going to bring up emotion when you look back at all the crappy things that have happened over the year. Allow that to happen because it's part of the process. So have a pen and paper ready and write down all those things that were really horrible, and write down the emotions that you feel that you associate with that negative thing. So you might feel heartache, you might feel pain, you might feel frustration, you might feel anger, you might feel bitterness, you might feel sadness. You might feel overwhelmed or stress or unhealthy or nervous. Write it all down. It's important to write down as much as you can. So allow yourself some time to do that. Sit with a nice cup of tea or hot chocolate or a glass of Prosecco, some chocolate, whatever. Make it a little ritual and sit with those things. And when you're finished, you should have a piece of paper that has an event that happened, and around it should be the emotions that you felt or still feel from that event. Then I want you to do the same for all the positive things that happened. So think about a really good thing that happened and write down next to it all the positive things that you feel. Do you feel happy about it? Do you feel proud about it? Do you feel a sense of achievement, accomplishment? Do you feel sort of inspired? All the things that you feel, as many as you can. So you end up now with another piece of paper with all the positive things, all the little positive events or things that happened, and next to it, all the emotions that you feel. Then I want you to go somewhere safe. I have this and I want you to get your piece of paper with the negatives on, and I want you to tear. It's important that you tear, not use scissors, because tearing is a little bit more physically satisfying. And I want you to tear each of those events with its associated emotions into a little piece of paper until you have a little pile of negative events and negative emotions. Now, you may not have said pot. You might have a wood burner, fireplace, or you might just be able to go outside with a cigarette lighter or something, but don't make me lecture you about fire safety. Find somewhere safe. And I want you to set light to each of those things. So I would set light to my little event over the top of the cauldron, and I would state the intention that I want to let go of the emotions that are associated with that event. Because you don't want to forget the event. I don't want to forget that my mother-in-law died. We're not burning these things to forget them. We're burning them to release the emotional overwhelm of them. We have to accept that they happened. We can't take them back. They've happened. They are what they are. But it's important that we don't get bogged down by the negative emotion of it. And that is your intention. Your intention is to not be tied down by the emotion of it. And burn each of those things always with the intention, state it out loud if you can. My intention is to release myself emotionally from this event. And do each one of them until you're done. And then sit for a second and know that it's done. Know that you have released yourself emotionally from those events. Have some of your chocolate, have some of your Prosecco, have some of your wine, whatever you have. And then I want you to grab and do the same thing with the positive things. So tear them into little pieces so that you have a little pile of paper with all your positive events and your positive emotions. But this time you don't want because they're positive, you're not trying to release yourself of anything here. Now you are wanting to express gratitude. You want to express gratitude for those things that have happened to you. So light each one and state the intention that you have gratitude in your heart for that particular thing. Burn it and stick it in your pot. And burn each one. And each one while you state that you have gratitude in your heart for that particular one thing. And it's a very quick way of releasing the old, it has said that releasing the things that no longer serve you, but also appreciating those things that have happened that have brought you some sense of gratitude or happiness throughout the year. And that way you can have a clean slate, wake up tomorrow morning and you have a clean whiteboard in front of you that you have the power to create whatever you want on that clean whiteboard. You remember that when you wake up tomorrow morning. You are the architect of your life. You create. Actually, yes. Sometimes other things do happen to us that we have no control over, but mostly we have the power. So that's my little mini how to let go of 2024 and how to welcome in 2025 with the right mindset. So then I wanted to talk about word of the year. Now, this was a relatively new thing that I learned about a couple of years ago, and I thought it was such a great idea, but I just felt so overwhelmed by what word do I choose? There's so many words, what word do I choose? And I read countless articles on, defining your values in life and what's important for you and your goals and your achievements and what you want to have accomplished by the end of the year. There's so many ways to choose your word of the year. And whilst you might not have one now, if you think about it now throughout the year, you might find a word that will just pop up that you'll go, that's it. Last year, for me, it was the word nurture. And I don't even know how that came to me. I honestly can't remember. But that word was specific for my business and for myself. So nurture was about nurturing my clients, looking after them in their vulnerable state when they were vulnerable, and nurturing myself and looking after myself and making sure that I practiced enough self-care. Now, it might have just so happened that I nurtured my clients more than I nurtured myself, but hey, we learn, and maybe this year or next year I can learn to strike a much better balance. But it's that word throughout the year keeps reminding you what you're striving for, everything that you do as part of your life and your business needs to somehow be involved with that word. So when you get involved in a situation, is this nurturing for me? Is it nurturing for me? And if it isn't, then you're like, well, should I really be doing it? Is this nurturing my clients? This, whatever it is that I'm doing, is that nurturing my clients? No, then probably you shouldn't be doing it. It just gives you some direction. And as with all these things, it's always super flexible, so don't stress. Now, I hadn't thought about my word of the year up until I spoke to my cousin on Saturday in New Zealand, and it was just so strange. I can't even remember how it came up in conversation, but she was talking about what she was wishing me for 2025. We were just kind of ringing off and, I hope you have a great 2025, and may it bring you health and health, wealth and happiness. How you kind of wish people these things. And she used the word realignment, and it just went in my head, because there's been a lot of things that are happening with me mentally and emotionally this year. One very big thing, which I haven't spoken about a lot actually, is my discovery and acceptance that I have ADHD. And the more I read about it, the more I realize I've had it for most of my life. But because I wasn't aware of what it was, I have been treated for countless other things. And the way that I deal with my life has been totally inconsistent with the way an ADHD brain works. And therefore, that's why I've struggled with so many things in my life. And I, a couple of months ago, really started throwing myself into reading as much as I could about it, and learning what it was and also what it wasn't. And what was important for me is I'm not the type of person that goes, oh, I have ADHD, I can't do it. I'm like, right, I've got ADHD. How do I deal with it? How is it going to affect me? And how can I put processes in place that are going to help me when those things have the potential to stop me from doing what I want to do? So I did research, and I read about it, and I watched YouTube channels. And incidentally, one of my Christmas presents, I'll just grab it here because it's on the desk, was this fabulous book. If you follow Jessica's channel, I think it is called How to ADHD. She's one of the channels that I've been following for a while, and I think she's been on the channel for, 8 years, and she started really quite small, just sharing her experiences of it, and she's now written a book, she's done a TED talk, and she interviews some really interesting experts in the field. I can highly recommend it. It's an absolute stonker of a book, but it's written visually for an ADHD brain. So I digress slightly. So I've been learning a lot about myself and how my brain works and how it works differently. So the word realignment for me struck such a chord, because realignment is about getting back on track to be what something originally was. And that feels like a very deeply emotional thing for me. I've always been there inside, but I've been trying to work in a different way that isn't the way that my brain works. And realignment is about getting back in line with what I am and how I work, but learning how to make it work for me. And in fact, I actually looked up the definition on various dictionary websites, you know, for the, I'm going to put it in my journal. I'm going to do a whole journal page on it. But so the one here said the action of changing or restoring something to a different or former position, which I thought was great. That kind of former position is like, it's what you always were. The act of putting something into a new or correct position to align again. The act of making changes to something in order to adapt it to a new situation. The act or instance of restoring or changing to a previous or different position. Synonyms for realignment are readjustment, restructuring, shake-up, or reshuffling. But I really love that. I think realignment is going to be really, really deep for me this year. It's going to be about me really digging much deeper into who I am and how I work, which will have a knock-on effect into my business and my YouTube channel. So I'm looking really forward to how that's going to pan out for me. So I thought I would also offer, I know I'm not doing this as a live, but if you don't have a word of the year, I have a very sweet little card deck that I bought from a lady called Kristen. Her Instagram handle is OTM_Academy. I think her YouTube channel might be the same thing. But she basically sold it as a PDF file of all these little cards, and you just printed it out and cut them, which is fabulous. So I've got these cards here. If you're watching this video and you would like a word of the year, drop me a comment and I'll give them a shuffle and I will draw one for you and let you know what it is. It might resonate and you might stick with it for the year, or you might think, oh, Colleen, actually that's a load of crap. But at least it'll give you somewhere to start. So drop me a comment and let me know. All right, finally, the last thing I'm going to share with you tonight is how to work out your tarot card of the year. Now, I do have a much longer video on that goes into a little bit more detail about how to do this. I will also put that in the description below. But basically, if you don't know anything about tarot, none of that's going to make any sense to you at all. But if you do have some knowledge of tarot, your tarot card of the year is a major arcana card. It only covers the majors. And basically what you do is you add up the numbers in your date of birth and you add them to whatever year you're working the year card out for. So for example, my birthday is the 18th of the 2nd, so 18 plus 2 is 20. I'm looking to work out my tarot card of the year for 2025, so 2025 plus 20 from the 18 and the 2 is 2045. Right, with me so far? Because maths wasn't my strong point at school either. So 2045, then what you do is you add the numbers in that. So 2 plus 0 plus 4 plus 5, which in my case equals 11. And 11 is the Justice card. So I will do another video. I'm just showing you here the Justice card from the Lightseers Tarot so that you have an idea of what the Justice card looks like. What I like to do with my tarot card of the year is I like to create a mind map. If you're familiar with the term, A4 piece of paper, or A3, I write the Justice card, I write Justice, card 11, in a circle in the middle of that page, and then I draw lines out like a little thing that I don't know what to call. Okay, and on each of those lines, what I do is I look up the keywords for the Justice card from a different tarot deck. Now, you might not have a lot of tarot decks. I have 103. So I would grab a handful of those decks and I would look up, right, this deck, let's look up a keyword for the Justice card, and I would write it on that one little spoke. Then I would get another tarot deck, I'd grab the book, I'd look up the Justice card, look up the keywords, and I'd write them on the next spoke until I filled that whole mind map. And what you end up with is a load of keywords all relating to the same card, but they're giving you a little bit of a feel and a little bit of a extended feel of what that card stands for. Now, interestingly enough, when I think of the Justice card, there's a lot to the Justice card, and whilst this isn't a tarot video, just bear with me. There's normally in Justice cards a sword and this kind of weighing of the scales, like Lady Justice. If you see on some of the law buildings in America, there's always Lady Justice. But for me personally, when I used to think of the Justice card, I always used to think of the phrase putting things right. For some reason, it was always a phrase that popped into my head when I thought of the Justice card. And this morning it made me smile because I thought, putting things right, Justice card, and my word of the year is realignment. Isn't that marvelous? The two seem so tied together, and yet they're completely unrelated. That's what I love about this stuff. It's amazing. So yes, so interesting. Interesting. My year card is the Justice card. So like I said, I will do another video showing you how I actually do the little mind map thingy-majiggy, and I will put in the description below a link to my other video which goes into a little bit more detail about how to actually work out your own tarot year card. So I think that's all that I wanted to cover today. Hope that you found it interesting. And I would really just like to take this moment to wish you and your family and your animals a really happy end to 2024. No matter what it's brought you, I hope that you feel in some way you're still there and it's okay. You've survived. And I hope that 2025 brings you good lessons, things which you need to experience in order to progress on your journey. And I hope it brings you a lots of happiness and chocolates. And just thank you very much for your support, and thank you for always watching and liking my videos. And yeah, let's just hope that we see some positive things happening in the world next year. I think that's about it. So 5:45 tonight, 31st of December, I'm going to go downstairs, have some nice dinner with my husband. And I wish you all a very, very happy new year, and I will see you again in the new year. Bye-bye.